African news update on top accolade news. Across Africa tonight, the ground is shifted from youth torches in the streets to boardroom gambles on black gold, and even a singer's mic drop in the cultural wars. These headlines are heartbeat of a continent demanding more than survival. They remind us, when the young people rise, the old guard trembles. The headlines: Madagascar unrest forces government shake-up. Mali's ex-prime minister faces trial for criticizing JUNTA rule. Third day of Moroccan protests halted by heavy security. Nigeria's shea export ban leaves workers struggling to survive. We'll start in the south, where silence shattered into fury. Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina announced the dissolution of his government on Monday after days of youth-led Gen Z protests over chronic water and power cuts that left at least 22 people dead, according to UN figures disputed by the government. The unrest, which spread to 8 cities, has drawn condemnation from UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk, who decried the unnecessary force of security crackdown, while Rajoelina pledged dialogue with young people and promised a new cabinet. His consensus may not kill a movement whose rallying cry is simple yet searing: we want to live, not survive. That raw demand for dignity echoes northwards, where junctors crush voices before the row. The trial of former Malian Prime Minister Moussa Mara opened on Monday in Bamako's cybercrime court, where he faced charges of undermining state credibility, opposing authority, and inciting unrest after calling jailed opposition leaders prisoners of conscience in a July post on X. Mara, who served briefly as Prime Minister a decade ago, has grown into a fierce critic of General Assimi Goïta's junta, which has dissolved parties, delayed elections, and handed Goïta a renewable 5-year mandate. The courtroom battle reflects Mali's tightening grip on dissent, where a hopeful vow, the sun will inevitably rise, is treated as a crime. From Mali's muffled dissent to Morocco's barricaded boulevards, where the Arab Spring embers refused to cool. A heavy security presence on Monday night thwarted youth-led demonstrations across Moroccan cities as the anonymous online group Gen Z 212 rallied for better health and education services. Dozens were arrested, briefly detained while investigating reports of minors being held. The protest, sparked by outrage over poor hospital conditions, echo slogan of the 2011 uprisings amid soaring youth unemployment of 35.8%. In Morocco's restless streets, the cry for freedom, dignity, and social justice still refuses to fade. Moving to West Africa's breadbasket, where good intention harvests hardship. Nigeria's sudden 6-month ban on raw shea nut exports aimed at boosting local processing and capturing more of the $6.5 billion global industry has instead plunged thousands of women in Niger State into hardship as nut prices collapse and incomes halve. While officials argue the policy will empower women long exploited by middlemen and foreign buyers, for many harvesters, the promise of future gain will follow when survival today is at stake. Prove that reform without a safety net can taste as bitter as the nut itself. You're watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Somalia now stands at the threshold of an oil era that could redefine its future. Somalia will soon launch its first oil drilling operation, with President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud hailing it as a historic step towards job creation, revenue growth, and poverty reduction. While surveys suggest significant reserve and exploration deals are in place with foreign firms, civil society groups warn that without robust governance, the venture could feel mismanagement and conflict. In a nation long scarred by instability, the promise of oil is both an opportunity and risk. Black gold can enrich or engulf. From future-filled gamble to fiscal fine-tuning in East Africa, where Kenya's tax tech aimed to turn dread into duty. The Kenya Revenue Authority has launched the Electronic Rental Income Tax System, a new online portal enabling landlords to update property details, file, and pay monthly rental income tax more efficiently, following a rate cut from 10% to 7.5%. Commissioner General Humphrey Watanga said the platform will ease compliance. For a country long plagued by poor revenue performance, this is more than a tool. It is a test of whether taxation can feel like duty, not punishment. Crossing now to entertainment, where a Nigerian icon's olive branch ignited a transcontinental firestorm. Nigerian star Tiwa Savage has come under fire after apologizing on behalf of South African singer Tyla during a U.S. interview about the colored identity debate, a term rooted in South African culture but deeply offensive in American history. While Savage says she acted from a cultural instinct to protect the younger artists, South Africans criticized her for meddling in the discourse she knew nothing about. Tyla, for her part, distanced herself from the gesture with a bold on-stage remark, "Sorry, I am not sorry." Sometimes, an apology given without invitation feels louder than the original offense. Wrapping with a South African soccer scandal that scores on goal for the mighty. South Africa's 2026 World Cup's hope were dented after FIFA docked 3 points and fined its football association $12,536 for fielding suspended midfielder Teboho Mokoena in a match qualifier against Lesotho, overturning their win and pushing Benin top of Group C while reviving Nigeria's chances. The blunder is a humiliating setback for a nation led in football by FIFA Vice President Patrice Motsepe, prove that even the guardians of the game can stumble in their own rules. From Madagascar blackouts to Morocco's lockdowns, Africa's stories tonight weave a tapestry of tenacity, where the young, the broke, and the bold refuse to bend. At Top Accolade News, we don't just report the rupture, we honor the repair, because in every cry for more, there's a blueprint for tomorrow. I am Ojarome Okocha, and this is the African News Update on Top Accolade News, keeping you connected to the pulse of the continent.